Hey, did you know that churches tend to be targeted by scammers because of the nature of people who tend to attend church? Like being big-hearted and genuine and generous. And who's going to turn down their pastor if their pastor asks them for something? Oftentimes, scammers are looking to get your information so that they can use it to their benefit. Hi, I'm Pastor Emily, your resident millennial tech-savvy pastor, and I'd like to walk you through some myths around scamming, how scammers get your information, and how to detect a scam, whether it be through email, text, phone call, or through your social media, and some tools to help you combat scammers in the future. So let's get started. Myth number 1. If you are being impersonated, it definitely means that you have been hacked. That is simply not true. All a scammer needs is your basic information, such as your name and your telephone number, or your name and your email address, and maybe a picture or two of you. Any of these things can easily be found through a Google search if you have made any of that information public at any time. They can then use that information to mask their own information. I will show you an example of this later in this video. Another way that your information can get out there is if you are on an unsecure public Wi-Fi. This might mean you're at your local coffee shop and you tap into the public Wi-Fi. Because there is no security on that Wi-Fi, any site that you go to, any information that you get to could be publicly shared with somebody else. So you probably don't want to check on your stocks, bonds, or bank accounts while you're sitting in your local coffee shop on their public Wi-Fi. That is a big no-no. Now, some of the things that scammers are going to look for and target are your financial information, social security numbers, credit card numbers or information about your credit cards or debit cards, gift cards, they will ask you to buy a gift card, bank transfers, or password confirmations. If you are being asked for any of this information, please ensure that you follow the steps that I will provide to you with the following information in this video to make sure that the institution that has contacted you is genuine and truly needs that information from you. Let's begin with looking at an example of an email scam. Here you'll see that I received an email just a few days ago from someone named Phrygia Valero. I've made this email a bit bigger for you so it's easier to read, and on the left I've provided you a list of things to look for to identify this as a scammer. So let's get started. First of all, I'm very fortunate in my life and I don't have any student loans. So this is some odd information. It mentions my student loans that I do not have. Next, we're going to be looking for some public information. Anywhere that you have lived, any phone number that you have had, they can find it on the internet. It's public information. I haven't lived in Virginia in several years, so it pulled up this really old address and it put it in here. That's not only odd, but it's also public. Next, we're going to look for urgency. They're always going to want you to get in touch right away. So here they tell me that I'm only eligible for this student loan debt forgiveness for one more day, and I better call them soon. Next, we're going to look for something financial. These scammers will almost always present themselves as some sort of a financial institution or somebody who's privy to your financial information. Here, they are presenting themselves as a student loan debt department. So if I called that number, someone would answer the phone as though they are from that department. And they're going to ask me for my social security number and for a whole lot of other private information. Don't fall for this. In your case, they might present themselves as a bank or as a doctor's office or anybody that would easily be able to attain the information they're looking for. Next, we're going to look down at the bottom. Strange links. Now in this case, they didn't even make them clickable. Here they want me to copy and paste unsubscribemenow.net, and they want me to enter my email information. Well, here's the problem. If you didn't call them at the number in the top paragraph because you didn't fall for it, you might want to get rid of them. So they're going to want you to interact in this way. This is not a real link. You will never have to enter your email address in to get rid of a certain emailing service, and the unsubscription links will always be live on genuine emails. This is not real. Next, we're going to be looking for some bad grammar, and I know that's not on your list on the left, but this is also a tell. Now, this scammer happened to be pretty good, but if you look just above the unsubscribemenow.net, you're going to see it says here, please call the number above to be removed from marketing list. This was their only mistake. They're missing an article. So it should say removed from the marketing list or from our marketing list, but they don't say that. Lastly, we're going to look for masking. Now, if you are on Gmail, this is what your email looks like. If not, you still have the option. There should be a drop-down that will reveal everything about the sender's address and the company that sent it. So here we see that whoever Frija Valero is, probably not a real person, has a bot-generated email address. This is a string of numbers and letters that don't make any sense. They were generated by some computer, and it's from hotmail.com. Now, if this were a genuine company, let's say Walgreens, it would end with @walgreens.com, but it doesn't. It's hotmail.com, which is a personal use email provider. So that there tells us this is not a real company and this is not a real person. Now, we didn't check the box for masking. We're going to go over what masking is in a moment. But first, let's look at another example of some scam emails that you just shouldn't click on in the first place. For another example, I have taken us to a screenshot of my inbox in my spam folder. And I highlighted here for you 3 emails succinctly from an address called Payment Declined. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure there's not a company out there called Payment Declined. So that right off the bat tells me do not click on this. Secondly, you'll notice, of course, I've blacked out my email here so that the internet doesn't have it, but you'll notice it says your account Netflix will be removed today. Now, do you know anybody who speaks like that? Your account Netflix. No, they would say your Netflix account. So anytime that you see bad grammar or multiple misspellings, it's probably a scam. Furthermore, what I find humorous is I personally don't even have a Netflix account. So again, I know that this is fake. Another way that they'll try to get you to click on it is by including alarmist clickables such as the exclamation point there highlighted in yellow. Between that and the words payment declined, they don't want you to think about it. They just want you to click because you want the information. Oh no, my Netflix will be removed today. Better click it. Do not click this. And if you open an email like this and they have either a link or an attachment included, do not click on either. Do not open those attachments. This is another way that they can get your information. Do not interact with the email at all. Now I'd like to take you to another email that I found in my spam folder and show you some other ways that we can also detect spam emails. This email now that I'm going to show you is offering me AARP at a 25% discount. Now, I don't know the exact rules of AARP, but I'm pretty sure I'm too young to be getting AARP at this point in my life. But let's open it and see what it says in the details. So here in the details, you'll see that it says it's from AARP membership. But if you look next to it, the email address that it uses is actually updates@onionleak91.com. Well, that sounds suspicious right away. I don't know about Onion Leak, but it doesn't sound right. Now let's go down even further. It says that there's a mailing list, and I look at the mailing list and it's a random combination of numbers and letters. That right there tells me a robot sent out this message. Then I've circled here for you, mailed by. Well, it says it's from updates at Onion Leak 91, but it was actually mailed by mail94 atl11.rsgsv.net. Well, that's not right. And it says signed by onionleak91.com. Now I want to spend some time with this because this is how scammers use churches all the time. You saw that it was mailed by one address, and then you saw that it was signed by another. That is called masking. So oftentimes a scammer might use your pastor's email address, for example, and they will mask that on top of their own. But if you want to really know without even clicking it, take a look at that pastor's email address. Is it from your church's domain, or is it from something else? Look at the @ sign, look just after it, and it's probably going to be something different. There will be subtle differences because your church owns its domain name, because your church owns a certain email account. They cannot use the exact email. It might be as subtle as 2 letters switched. I know this probably feels a little bit overwhelming right now. There's a lot to look for, and I can only speak for my generation and the generations that followed, but we were taught these things in school. This is why we know all of this. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay. It's a lot to take in a short video like this one. But make sure that you look at that email address, and if it doesn't seem right, it's not from the sender you thought it was. And do not reply to these emails, no matter what you do. If you are suspicious that maybe it did come from your pastor or from your friend, go into a separate email and write them an email. Start an email chain and say, hey, I got this email from you. Is this correct? If not, thanks for letting me know. Trust me, it's better to be cautious than to click something that you regret clicking later. All right, friends, let's move on to identifying scam text messages. Oh no, my pastor texted me and they need a gift card right now to help somebody who's dying in the hospital. I guess I better run out and get it as quick as possible. Friends, don't do this. Your pastor is never going to ask you for a gift card within a certain short time period to help somebody who is in critical condition. This is a very popular scam, and people target churches because we count on people of faith having really big hearts and really wanting to help the world. Well, if you help a scammer, you're not helping the world. But they prey especially on older people who cannot identify when they're being scammed. So how do you know if a text is really from your pastor or if it's a scam? Well, first of all, let me tell you this. If you look at the phone number and it doesn't belong to your pastor, it's not your pastor. They might identify as your pastor. In fact, the message may even show your pastor's name. It's okay to click on a text message, but do not click a link and do not respond to that text message. Now, if they're asking for something immediately, and remember, it has to do with anything financial or any personal information, do not text it back. Make sure that you open a separate text message and write directly to the person you thought texted you. Or better yet, give them a call. Let's walk through some other very popular texting scams that are going on right now. For instance, you might receive a text scam that says your FedEx package has been delayed or cannot be delivered. Unless you specifically signed up to track a very certain package, FedEx is not going to be texting you this. They're not going to contact you in that way. Furthermore, another text scam that's going around is about banks. It'll say your credit card has been declined. Enter the, security code, for example, to make sure that your purchase goes through. Well, this is a scammer wanting your pieces of information so that they can use your credit card number to buy something. If anybody claims to be the IRS or state tax bureau, whatever you might call that in your state, or if they're claiming to be any financial institution whatsoever, please be certain to call that institution. IRS will never call you or text you. They will send you hard mail. You can also check your own IRS account on the irs.gov website. Same thing goes with your state tax bureau. They might call you, but they're probably not going to text you. More than likely, they will also only operate by mail, but call their front office and ensure that it was truly them. With your bank, if you signed up for bank text alerts, they will probably text you, but they will never, ever ask you for information via text. In a bank text that's genuinely from a bank, they will ask you to call the bank at their 1-800 number and provide the information. If you get texted from a bank and it offers that phone number, do not call that phone number. Go online and find the bank's actual number and call that number. I know, again, that this is a lot of information. Scammers can be tricky, and that's why we're here to help. Let's talk about phone calls. This one's actually probably the most fun. If you ever get called by somebody and there's a long pause on the other end before they begin talking, more than likely, it's a scammer. Unless you know the number and it's your friend and they just take a while to hear you. But if you get a call and there's a long pause, it's probably a scammer, and robots can sound like real people these days.
Hello?
What they want from you, again, is usually that financial information. If somebody calls you and they ask you to confirm your bank account number or anything similar to that, hang up immediately and call your financial institution from a number that's listed on the internet for that financial institution. Now, if you get somebody who's trying to sell you something or get information like that out of you, there is a way that you can join the front lines in combating scammers. And man, it can be fun. If you get a call like this and you know that it's a scammer, play around with it. You can easily take on a new identity, for example. Someone calls, I might say, hey, oh my God, you wouldn't believe what happened to me yesterday. I have to tell you about this guy. And they're gonna try to interrupt you, right? Make the story elaborate. Go as far into detail as you like, take breaks, say, oh, hold on, I dropped something. Maybe even play some music, pretend that you're out somewhere. Keep them talking as long as possible, okay? The longer that you keep them on the phone, the less time they have to go and bother someone else, and the less lucrative their business actually is. The same thing goes for online scammers, which we'll get to in our social media section next. All right, friends, let's talk about social media. There's a few different layers to this. I'm going to use Facebook as our prime example today. If you are on Facebook and you get a friend request from somebody that you definitely know, and it is a picture of them, but they don't have any mutual friends with you, don't accept it. Now, if they have 2 or 3 mutual friends with you, go on ahead and click on their profile before you accept their invitation. Scroll through their profile. Is all of their information correct? Does it show the city that they live in, maybe that they're retired or where they're working? Does it show that information? If it doesn't, this profile is fake. Maybe it does show that information, but not all of it, so you want to know more. Scroll down. If their only post is profile pictures, maybe 1, 2, or 3 profile pictures, this is a fake account. Decline the friend request. Now, occasionally somebody will just start their Facebook. If they're a good enough friend of yours, give them a call or send them a text and ask them if it's actually them. But more than likely, it's probably not. Now, a lot of people in their 60s and older tend to be hacked or impersonated on Facebook. There are a few ways that this can happen. One of the ways is by accepting one of those bogus friend requests that we just talked about. Another way that this might happen is if you have not changed your password in over a year. Make sure that you're changing your password at least once every 12 months just to keep your account secure. Sometimes passwords can get leaked by other companies not being completely secure or responsible with their information. It happens all the time, and it's not your fault. Now let's talk about Facebook Marketplace. This is where scammers are most active right now, and they can be really tricky. Let's say that you are selling an item on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist for that matter. And let's say it's a couch. You're selling your couch and an older woman messages you and says, hey, is this item still available? And you say, why, yes, it is. Are you interested in buying it? And she says, yes, I would love the sofa. I'm going to pay you now. They are never supposed to pay you until they pick up the item. Now, commonly they will say something like, I can pay you by Venmo or by Zelle. If you're familiar with transactions that are done on your phone or maybe by your digital wallet, you might want to pay attention to this part. On your bank account, you might have access to a program called Zelle, where you can transfer money to somebody else's account and you know that it's secure from account to account. They're going to tell you, I will pay you by Zelle. And they say, I'm trying really hard to make this happen, but it says that if I'm sending you over $200, that I need a deposit from you first to confirm that we actually know each other. That is false. Do not fall for it whatsoever. Never, ever, ever give anybody money that you do not know personally. They will use this tactic to say, well, if you look in these details, and they might even get so elaborate as to send you a screenshot. This is a picture of what they're seeing on their phone or tablet or laptop. They have fabricated this. Both Zelle and Venmo do not have such a policy as ensuring that you need to send money to someone else first. That is absolutely false. So do not fall for this. All right, let's now talk about some tools that you can use to combat all of the issues that we just described. I'm going to start with some practical tools that you can use to report phishing scams or any type of scam really. On your screen right now, you see how to report phishing. You might want to pause this video and take down this information if this is something that happens frequently to you. If you get a phishing email, you can forward it to the anti-phishing working group at reportphishing@apwg.org. If you get a phishing text message, you can forward it to SPAM, also known as 7726. You can report the phishing attempt to the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov. Now, these are some different ways that you can report the phishing. If you'd like to make it stop altogether, there's some different tools within your email and within your phone that you can use. It is beautiful to be able to use your block button. So, if you get a text message, for example, and you would like not to receive a text message from that number ever again, go on ahead and click to delete that text message, and you will see an option that says delete, report, and block. Click that, it will report it for you and block that number from ever being able to text you again. Depending on if you have an Apple or an Android phone, these buttons might look different. So be sure to ask somebody who knows how to use a phone like yours where those buttons are. Furthermore, if you would like to block somebody from calling you, you can go to that contact information by pressing the I for information, and you can put them on a block list. They will never be able to call or text you again. Within your email account, depending on which email server that you have, there will be a button for blocking or putting towards a spam folder. Now, I'd like to get to a really fun resource for those spam phone calls that you might be getting. This resource is called RoboKiller. It is one of the most popular apps used to deflect spammers from the start. Now, what's fun about this app is that you can choose a robotic response of your own to give to that spammer or that robot that's calling you. They have many options from Valley Girl to Cowboy to all sorts of scenarios, and you can listen to the narrative. The spammer or the scammer that's calling you is going to think that it's a real person, and they're going to start talking to that person. Meanwhile, your robot is at work, and the robot narratives can go on for as long as an hour, keeping these people on the line. Now here's the kicker. Anytime that you get one of these, RoboKiller is going to record it for you. And if you listen to the recording, it can get downright hilarious. This is entertainment, y'all, at a cheap price. It will also take the call before it even shows up for you. It recognizes these numbers, and it will take it and divert it so that you can keep using your phone unhindered and unbothered while your robot goes to work defending you from spam and scams. Friends, this has been a very fun topic to report on. I'm sorry I didn't do it earlier. If you have more information that might help people to defend themselves from spam or scams, please leave it in the comments below. Please share it with me. I would love to be able to have more information to help folks out. I hope that you enjoyed this learning experience, and good luck out there.